Petrus is a Latin name derived from the Greek meaning rock, and is the common English prefix petro, used to describe rock-based substances, like petros-oleum or rock oil, as the source of Peter. It is a common name for people from antiquity through the medieval era. In the Netherlands and South Africa it remained a very common given name, though in daily life, many use less formal forms like Peter, Pierre, Piet and Pieter. People with the name Petrus, St. Peter, a Christian apostle and a founder of the Church. Priest Petrus, 5th century Illyrian priest. Latinized medieval and Renaissance name. Petrus Abelardus, Latin name for Peter Abelard, 1079–1142. Petrus Urbano, Pietro di Bano, 1257–1315. Italian philosopher and doctor. Petrus Alfonsi, Florida, 1106–1110. Spanish Jewish writer. Petrus Augustus, 545–602. Byzantine Curopalates. Petrus Aureolus, 1280–1322. French theologian. Petrus Baldus Dirabaldes, 1327–1400. Italian jurist. Petrus Bernardinus, 1475–1502. Florentine sectarian. Petrus Burtius, Peter de Bert, 1565–1629. Flemish theologian, historian, geographer and cartographer. Petrus Bonus, Pietro Boni, Florida, 1330s. Italian alchemist. Petrus Canisius, Peter Canes, 1521–1597. Dutch Jesuit Catholic theologian. Petrus Capuanus, Florida, 1197–1214. Italian scholastic. Petrus Christus, ca. 1410–1420 ca. 1475–76. Dutch painter. Petrus Comesta, Pierre Le Manger, died c. 1178. French theological writer and university administrator. Petrus de Cruz, Florida, 1290–1302. Italian cleric, composer, and author. Petrus Cunius, Peter van der Koen, 1586–1638. Dutch philosopher. Petrus de Dacia, 1230s–1289. Swedish monk. First author in Sweden. Petrus Dacippodius, Peter Hassenfratz, ca. 1495–1559. Swiss humanist. Petrus Dathenus, Peter Dathene, c. 1531–1588. Dutch Calvinist theologian. Petrus Diaconus, Pietro Diacono, c. 1110 c. 1159. Italian librarian of Monte Cassino. Petrus Divaeus, Peter van Dieven, 1535–1581. Flemish historian. Petrus Dorlandus, Peter van Diest, 1451–1507. Flemish writer of the play Elkleach. Translated into Everyman. Petrus Faustus, Peter van Foist, 1521–1597. Dutch physician. Petrus de Natalibus, Florida, 1400. Venetian hagiographer. Petrus Peregrinus a Peter de Maricourt, Florida, 1269. French writer on magnetism and astrolabes. Petrus Plancius, Peter Platavoe, 1552–1622. Netherlandish astronomer, cartographer and clergyman. Petrus Ramus, 1515–1572. French humanist, logician, and educational reformer. Modern given name. Petrus van der Aar, 1530–1594. Brabantian jurist. Petrus Boykers, 1899–1981. Dutch Olympic sailor. Petrus Johannes Blok, 1855–1929. Dutch historian. Petrus Borel, pen name of Joseph Pierre Borel, derived 1809–1859. French Romantic writer. Petrus Bosman, 1928–2008. South African ballet dancer, teacher, and choreographer. Petrus Brovka, pen name of Pyotr Ustinovich Brovka, 1905–1980. Soviet Belarusian poet. Petrus Baumel, born 1993. Cameroonian footballer. Petrus Breitenbach, born 1987. South African lawn bowler. Petrus Kamper, 1722–1789. Dutch polymath. Petrus Pieter Cod, 1648–1710. Dutch Old Catholic Archbishop of Utrecht. Petrus J. H. Pierre Coopers, 1827–1921. Dutch architect. Petrus J. W. Pieter de Beer, 1884–1966. Dutch-American physicist. Nobel laureate in chemistry. Petrus Augustus de Genestedt, 1829–1861. Dutch poet and theologian. Petrus F. J. Pierre van Hooijdonk, born 1969. Dutch footballer. Petrus J. S. Piet de Jong, 1915–2016. Dutch Prime Minister. Petrus Jacobus Joubert, 1834–1900. Commandant General of the South African Republic. Petrus Johannes Piet Keizer, 1943–2017. Dutch footballer. Petrus Adrianus Piet Kersens, 1896–1958. Dutch Minister of Economic Affairs. Petrus Canisius van Lierde, 1907–1995. Dutch-Belgian Vicar General for the Vatican City State. Petrus Andreas van Meeuwen, 1772–1848. Dutch politician and lawyer. Petrus Albertus van der Parra, 1714–1775. Governor-General of the Dutch East Indies. Petrus Johannes Schotel, 1808–1865. Dutch marine painter. Petrus Joseph Triest, 1762–1836. Flemish Catholic priest. Founder of the Sisters and Brothers of Charity. Petrus Antonius Piet Verrijan, born 1931. Dutch economist. Petrus Vuist, 1691–1732. Governor of Dutch Bengal and Dutch Ceylon. Petrus Johannes Waardenburg, 1886–1979. Dutch ophthalmologist and geneticist. Petrus C. Piet Wiegman, 1885–1963. Dutch artist. Petrus Josephus Zoet Mulder, 1906–1995. Dutch expert in the Old Javanese language. See also. Henricus Petrus, 1508–1579. Swiss printer. Petri. Given name. Petrus. Disambiguation. Petrus. Surname.